Oh, hi there, my name's Simon Baker. I noticed you're spending quite a lot of money on Google AdWords, so I just wanted to record this quick video to show you how you might be able to improve the amount of people who are actually responding. So what we're doing here, if we go to, let's just have a look at some people who are currently advertising on Google. So we're going to type in Devon wedding photographer. Basically, I wanted to create this quick video because I was able to increase my friend's wedding photography business. Using some of the strategies I'm going to discuss. Now, you can see here most people who are advertising on Google, they're paying an average of $4 for about £2 per click. The problem being though is that when we click through to most people's websites, what actually shows up is they are directing people to their home page. Now, there's a few problems with this really, because obviously when you direct somebody to a home page, there's a lot that people have to do. They can either scroll down here, they can scroll down here, we can click on info, we can click on work and blog, and it's great that we can see all of these things, but what you want to do is optimize for conversions. So there's a number of things you can do to help to do this, but what you'll find if you are sending people to your homepage is a lot of them will just look around and not actually book, an appointment with you, for example, or book a call. Now, the perfect example of this is here. We can go to contact at the top here with this guy's website, but if we scroll down to we have to scroll all the way down to be able to check his availability, and then we have to log in. So there's a lot of things he's asking here for people to do as well. So usually when you're asking for somebody to take an action, you want to make it as easy as possible. I'm going to explain this more in a second. But how I was able to increase my friend's wedding photography business is using something simple called a landing page. So if we just preview this landing page here, number one thing as well is that these landing pages are optimized for mobile. Now, there's a few factors that will increase your conversion. So you can see at the top here, we've got a current headline of exactly what you need to do, over persuading the person who visits the website to scroll down. Now, you'll notice on this landing page that there's no other links. There's no like work, bio, contact, gallery, because if you're spending money on advertising, what you want to get is conversions, people actually contacting you. Instead of having a website where people are just browsing the website and it looks all good, I mean this looks quite good, doesn't it? But the problem is there's just too many different things that the user could do, or the person who's looking for a wedding photographer could do, and they have to expend too much energy to be able to actually contact you, and then we've got to fill in a form, there's all of this stuff to do. Whereas if you have a simple landing page like this, there is absolutely nothing else they can do other than schedule an appointment with us. So I'm going to discuss a few things on this landing page that will also increase the conversions. So to do this, we used a framework called the 25 cognitive biases. Now, the 25 cognitive biases are psychological frameworks that affect our decision making. And there's a great website you can use called the 25 cognitive biases.com that explains this in more detail. Now, the 25 cognitive biases, as I mentioned, are psychological frameworks that affect people's decision making. And obviously, if you're doing marketing, it's all about the psychology of the user and how to get people to make the decision to buy from you. Now, these have been condensed by a guy called Charlie Munger. Charlie Munger is Warren Buffett's business partner, and he's got a great talk on YouTube about them. But to go back to this landing page, I'm going to explain how we use this framework of the cognitive biases to actually get more people to schedule an appointment with us. So the first thing we've got here is free. We're offering a free consultation. Now, there's a bias in the brain called reciprocity. Whereas if you offer somebody something for free, they're much more likely to want to reciprocate, to give you something in exchange. Now, the next bias we're using here is something called the contrast mixed reaction tendency. So basically, whenever you can contrast how much something used to cost to how much it is now, it kind of triggers something in the brain that this is a good deal. Now, we're using another bias here. This is called the scarcity or urgency bias. We're giving people a reason to actually take an action today. Now usually this timer is counting down from an hour, so it gives people only a certain amount of time to make a decision to book an appointment. Now we talk about here, and we're talking in terms, you realise the copy here, we're talking in terms of what people actually, so we're talking in terms of the user rather than talking about ourselves. Instead of saying we're the greatest wedding photographer in the world, we're saying congratulations to you on your recent engagement. We are talking about their situation. We understand that everything you have to do as a bride to be, we understand that the last thing you want to worry about is how good a photographer is. Now we're mentioning free again, to using this reciprocity bias. And if we scroll down here, we're using a few other biases. So you see here it says 32 consultations claimed, only 3 left. So again, we're using the scarcity bias, but we're also using something called social proof. So you may have had the expression monkey see, monkey do, or you can think of this in a different way. If you went to you're walking down the high street and you wanted to go into a restaurant, you go into the restaurant with the most people in it, not the empty one. So it's kind of reinstating that other people have done this and therefore they should do it. Now you'll notice on our contact form that we've only got name, phone number and email address. We're not asking for too much from them for a consultation to speak with us. If we scroll down further, we're using another bias called the association bias. So the association bias is used most famously by McDonald's, where they use famous athletes to promote their products. Basically, the association bias is that we think that if an athlete is eating McDonald's, then it must be a good thing. But the association bias can also be used, it's also known as the authority bias. So by using these trust symbols here, we're signaling that we are authoritative within the market. So if you've ever got awards or you've been featured in a wedding magazine, it's always a good idea to put these things on your page. Now we're also going to be using here testimonials. So this is another example of social proof that that you can use. So it shows that other people have used your service and that it's a good idea for them to use it. So that's just a simple thing. And the cool thing about using a landing page as well, other than the fact that they can't do anything else on this page other than schedule an appointment with us, so it's going to increase the amount of people who are actually converting. The other cool thing you can do using a software like Leadpages or ClickFunnels is that if we come along here to widgets, we can do something called Calendly. So after they've clicked on yes, I want to claim a free consultation, what we can then do is actually come up with a calendar on the next page where they can actually schedule a time to speak to us. So we can import our Google Calendar or anything else, our schedule, into this software called Calendly, which is free. And what happens is they can actually schedule a time on the next page, so that it just makes the bit of things easier to organise. So if they can specify a time that they'd like to talk to you about, their wedding, then it makes it easier for both parties. There's a few things we can do. Now, obviously, if you're spending a lot of money on Google AdWords, if we just go back here to Devon Wedding Photographer as an example, so people here are paying, as I mentioned, about $4 every time somebody clicks on this page. Now, I don't know if you've used Facebook before. I just want to show you a few of the amazing targeting options that are actually available within Facebook and a few of the benefits of using it. So if we come over here to Facebook, say we wanted to create an advert to target people who are recently engaged. Well, Facebook has all of the data to be able to show us to do that, because you have to update your, well, you don't have to, but a lot of people update their relationship status. So just to show you an example of that. So, now when you first come into Facebook, it can seem quite confusing, but for example, we're just going to use this conversions objective. And I'll talk more about this in a second. So the cool thing about Facebook is that we can actually target people based on their not only their location. So I'm just going to show you an example. So what we can do in Facebook, and just to show you why I'm doing this, is that at Facebook you can get much lower cost per click. So we saw that $4 was the average cost per click that people were paying. If we just come over here to my ads account, and show you some of the results from different campaigns that I've run, and show you how low you can get the cost per click on Facebook. So if you come down here to breakdown, customize columns, we can see the cost per click. So just to show you here, we're getting clicks for 5p, 22p, 15p, 16p, £1, 37p, £1, 86p, 58p, £1, 23p, 20. So you can see they're a lot lower than paying, say, $4 like with Google AdWords. The cool thing about Facebook is there's a few things, but the first thing I want to show you is obviously you can target by location. So if you're a Devon wedding photographer, if we go here to Devon, come here to include people in this location, let's just say Exeter, Devon. First thing we can do is set a mile radius around Exeter, for example. So say we want to do 25 miles. We can then select the demographic. So we want to target women. It's usually women, as you know, who take the initiative to book a wedding photographer. And from my research, I've realised that most people get engaged between 25 and 44. Obviously, there are anomalies outside of this, but this is what we found to be the best result. Now the cool thing here, we can come down and we can target people who are engaged. So not only can we do relationship status engaged, but we can also do newly engaged. So people who've been engaged for a year, people who've been engaged for 6 months and 3 months. But the real power about Facebook is that you can track exactly how much it's costing you to get every single lead. Now this is using something called the Facebook Pixel. And if we just go back into my Ads Manager, just to show you what this can do and how powerful this is, what you can do with lead pages is you can add a bit of tracking code. You can do this with any landing page software. You can add a little bit of tracking code that's basically tracks the actions people take on your website. You can do this on your own website as well, but it's much more effective doing it with something that is just a landing page for the conversions. So if we come back here to the Ads Manager, let me just show you some here. Here we go. So, for example here, we can track exactly how much it's costing us to get a lead on Facebook. So that's exactly how much it's costing us to get somebody to enter in their information. So I highly recommend Facebook, not only because of these targeting options, but because you can track every single thing you're doing. Whereas with Google AdWords, you're not actually able to tell how much it's costing you to get a lead. You can tell how much it's costing you to get a click, you can't get how much it's costing you to get a lead. So these are just a few things that I thought would help you with your Google AdWords advertising. If you want any help setting up a landing page, or even doing some Facebook advertising, just reach out to me. I work as a consultant to local businesses, and I'd be happy to help you out. Especially because of the results we've been able to get from my friend's website. I've realised this is a fantastic thing for wedding photographers.